A new update is on its way to Rise of Kingdoms, which includes a Guan museum buff. It includes a new KvK format and also some holiday events. So in this video, sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, we're going to check out everything that's in this update. Starting with Chapter 2 of the Rise of Kingdoms Global Civilizations Collaboration Project. Relive the wonders of civilization across thousands of years. Personally, I'm not into the game because of history, but I do find Roman history kind of interesting. So a Rise of Kingdoms collaboration about Roman history, you definitely have my attention, all right? From there, along with Chapter 2 of the Global Civilizations Collab Project, the Rome-themed Eternal City event is about to begin. So we get a 7-day series of quests. We have an event where you collect gold leaves and celebrate the triumphant march of legions. We exchange some of these items and gold wreaths, I can't pronounce all this stuff, for incredible rewards. Arms training is coming back, as well as Tempest Clash, In Search of Wonders. Okay. In Search of Wonders, I've had pretty mixed results personally, but armaments are the sort of thing where you either hit or you miss, and when you hit, it's gangbuster. I suppose with Transmutation Stones, you can turn some misses into hits, which is kind of nice. Ark of Osiris, match info, and other improvements. The Sound of Battle has returned. The Osiris League Grand Finals are on the way. Okay. There is going to be a 5-minute delay for spectating the matches, which, you know, it's not as long as we used to do, but I think it seems to be plenty of delay here. Equipment and armaments. At the start of the Osiris Grand League Finals, all participants will be provided with equipment and armaments. So the thing about the Grand Finals is each of the realm winners will be battling, presumably, against each other. And in the Grand Finals, everybody's got the same commanders and equipment and armaments, I would assume. Added a tournament history feature for Ark of Osiris events. You can view a record of past tournament results. That's kind of cool. Tournament history feature includes video replays. Super cool for the playoffs, Osiris League Grand Finals, and the Grand Prix. Tournament history feature will include replays from the current year and previous year, but only starting from 2024. All right, cool. New KvK Shifting Sands. This is kind of wild. I read through this very briefly, and there's a lot to take in here. But the TLDR, and I will read it all, is that I think this is a ranged combat KvK. Let me explain. There's a commander revamp feature. Revamping a commander allows them to lead skirmisher or artillery troop and learn a new active and expertise skill. There are shifters. Now, these are new units. They redefine the way you approach ranged combat. If a revamped commander is the primary commander of a troop, all of the troops' units will automatically be converted into shifters. Shifters have the same base attributes as siege, but carry half the load. They do not counter and are not countered by any other unit types. In addition, there's a bonus conversion. If a revamped commander is a primary commander of a troop on the map, certain bonuses from equipment, talents, formations, armaments, technologies, museum, city themes, it's all converted into bonuses for shifter units, depending on the commander's original talents. For example, if a revamped commander has the infantry tag, all those bonuses become shifter bonuses, aka it's all ranged combat. In addition, melee bonuses will be converted into ranged bonuses. Up next, skirmisher troops. A new type of troop that can launch ranged attacks without switching into ranged mode, but takes increased damage. Deals bonus damage when there are no enemy governor troops within a certain range. Deals bonus damage, when they're within a certain range. So I guess if nobody's close, you deal extra damage. Only revamped commanders or those with the engineering talent can use their active skills when leading skirmisher troops. And then there's artillery troops, a new type of troop that can launch high damage ranged attacks. It has a much longer range, but a limited firing angle. Only revamped commanders or those with the engineering talent can use their active skills when leading artillery troops. There are revamp coins. You'll need to spend revamp coins each time you revamp a commander. You will automatically gain revamp coins every hour and can also earn them by completing Bastion quests. There are also Alliance Arrow Towers. Crusader flags can be transformed into Alliance Arrow Towers, which will attack nearby non-friendly cities. Their attacks reduce the target wall durability, but will not deal damage to units garrisoned in the city, which is basically intended to teleport people away from a position. This is a very, very powerful thing. It's in some KvKs already, and in Call of Dragons, you can upgrade every tower into the equivalent of an arrow tower here. I think they are good for getting progression in areas where things are really, really stuck. It makes it much more difficult for a defender to just put a bunch of farms in a place, fill from the farms, and keep a garrison alive. I think it's pretty clear the design of this KvK is to get people interested in the idea of ranged combat and Rise of Kingdoms, and even to like potentially test and explore the validity of some of these ideas for other ranged commanders that get put into the game potentially. I generally would say that from my experience playing Call of Dragons, also made by the same family of companies here, that the ranged combat in that game is very seamless, and you can attack without having to switch into a different ranged formation, which is something that it sounds like the shifters will be able to do. Which is, I think it's the shifters. One of the, maybe it's skirmisher. Yeah, it's skirmishers can do it. So I'm definitely interested in how people like this KvK. I don't know if I'm personally going to be the first one to go and try it, but I guess whatever kingdom I'm in, they'll be the one deciding that, all right? New features and events. Experience the all-new Cityscape platform. In the city editor, you can upload your city layout to Cityscape or apply someone else's layout to your own. I probably am overdue to have somebody else design a cityscape for me. I'm going to be real with you. Participate in the Armament Reveal Thyself event. Select your preferred formation. Stock up the event shop with armaments for that formation. Info about these armaments will be partially hidden, but they'll be fully revealed once you purchase the armament with armament tickets. This is only going to be open to kingdoms in Season 3 of KvK or Season of Conquest at the start of the event. All right. And the Recruitment Plaza has been launched. Kingdoms in the Season of Conquest can publish recruitment ads in the plaza, which can be viewed and filtered by potential immigrants. This is kind of interesting. I mean, when you think about it, finding another kingdom, it's almost necessary to use a Discord server to get it done. And certain things like that perhaps make sense to be dropped into the game. You could also make the argument that, like, I don't know, covering it all in Discord seems to work, but then there's the people who never join Discord. So I think it makes sense that they're taking a key feature of how people interact with the game out of game and put it into the game so people can get to where they want to go. Which brings us to the museum update. Added exhibits for Guan Yu and Leonidas. Wow. What would I want for Guan Yu? I want defense. I want health. I want normal attack damage taken mitigation. I want skill damage taken mitigation. I basically want anything that makes him more tanky. He has no tanky stats. That's his one weakness. I wouldn't hate March speed, but I think tanky stats are what Guan Yu would benefit from the most. And then Leonidas, on the other hand, he really needs March speed. So his museum buff needs to give him like 15% of March speed, if not more, to make him probably still not relevant, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how you can make Leonidas relevant, but you definitely can make Guan Yu better. Thutmose, El Cid, and Esong are getting another museum buff. I feel like we're reaching the point where these museum buffs are getting pretty expensive, and you're going to run out of currency for these museum buffs soon enough. So I think you're going to have to start to be really careful with where your museum buff currency is going. I almost feel like in a lot of cases here for like Esong, for example, like, I don't know, a commander that's available from the start of the game ought to be really cheap for somebody to get a museum upgrade on. That way you can play the early game and then have something to do in the late game without dropping a bunch of currency onto it. Do you see what I mean? Like, it almost defeats the purpose of having the museum buff if that museum buff is so expensive and unobtainable that the people that need it the most can't actually get to it. But I definitely appreciate that, like, if you're in the end game, you have a lot of this currency, whatever. I think that as a newer player, I would love to see all of these commanders genuinely be viable in the end game. But I don't know that, like, many levels of museum buff makes that exactly accessible. But I don't know. We'll see what the buff actually is. Fixed a bug in some stories where effects obtained during the story will be improperly carried over to your home kingdom. Hey, yo, bringing my seasonal strategies to the home kingdom. So sounds like it's important they fix that. Updated the Lost Kingdom Barbarian Keeps. You know, I feel like they changed these and I didn't even look at Barbarian Keeps. They're adding a new difficulty level. They added Animal Bones, which is like, I don't know, isn't that just a debuff to the loot table? And then added new keep resource centers. These will expire after a period of time. New ones will regularly spawn. If your alliance defeats Bloodfist Barga, your alliance will automatically occupy the resource center. Your troops cannot be attacked while gathering from it. I mean, I'm very curious about this. Remastered Heroic Anthem story with an all-new map. Ooh. We've kept the same map elements and story while completely upgrading the visuals of the holy sites, passes, water, and mountains for a richer and more immersive experience. Oh, cosmetic upgrade, right? Okay. Upgraded the Great Ziggurat and Citadel rules. If the Great Ziggurat and its citadels are occupied by two different alliances, but the alliances are in the same coalition, it will not attack the Ziggurat's defenders. Cool. Okay, that just makes sense. For those that didn't know, there's little towers outside the Zig that actually attack the Zig if you own them and you get buffs. And the LDR, this just makes sense. Now, this is interesting. Immigration optimizations. Cross-season immigration now requires putting down a deposit of 20,000 gems. If I'm not mistaken, cross-season immigration would be when you go from like Season of Conquest back to KvK Season 2. So you have to put down a deposit of 20,000 gems. Once you receive eligibility to immigrate to a kingdom, the deposit will be deducted from your account. If you don't receive eligibility, you will not need to pay the deposit. Once you've finished immigrating to the kingdom, your deposit will be refunded to you. If your immigration eligibility expires, but you still haven't immigrated, your deposit will be lost. So I'm wondering what problem this is solving. And immediately when cross-server or cross-season immigration was launched, I believe that I communicated a deep concern that players would create farm accounts and migrate them in. They count toward like the hard number of, like the hard limit on the number of accounts that could move over. I feel like, I mean, I don't know if this still happens today, but for like a really long time, I think this was maybe an issue where basically you'd plan out this really detailed migration and then you just get trolled by farm accounts that migrate over and like, I don't know, take one passport or something. I don't know how it worked. I don't remember. Maybe this is what this is trying to counter. I can't imagine what else this would be. Let me know down below in the comments, all right? If you've enabled a secondary password verification, you need to complete that before doing anything immigration related. Governors with less than 10 million power are not eligible for cross-season immigration. Okay. Lowered the power limit for cross-season immigration from 100 million to 85 million. So you need to be a little bit lower power. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but okay. Other improvements and event updates. Updated the description of Liu Che, expertise skill above all kings. This does not change the skill's actual effect. Oh God, I wonder what the skill actually does. Improve the layout of certain pages on mobile. Increase the number of troop icons displayed in the troop dispatch queue on the right side. Let's go. So, you know, look, I've been saying this for a long time, but on mobile and on PC, you need to have access to the full list of your troops at all times when you're in the open field in order to manage them. Sounds like that's what they're letting you do. And they added the show full dispatch queue option in settings, which will let you see up to 7 troop icons, which is huge. When you're open fielding, you need to see all your marches. And now sounds like you'll be able to. Awesome. Improve the experience of dispatching multiple troops at the same time. When using multi-select, the system will only select troop loadouts from the same section. Oh, that's good. There are times where, like, I would want to go attack something, but then, I don't know, one piece of gear wasn't on something, and so it would, like, send a gathering march. I don't know, it's a little weird. But this is definitely an improvement. Added the troop loadouts include equipment and armaments option in the settings. If disabled, loading a troop loadout will no longer load its equipment and armament setup. That's curious. I don't know when I would go into the settings to remove that, but okay. Improve the city theme transmog feature. I'm gonna be honest, I don't do any transmogging at all. I thought it was a cool idea. I would have advocated for it, but I think the problem is you can't change like an infantry city theme into an archer city theme, which makes sense because visually it helps an enemy understand what they're up against. But also, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to go with my newest theme and I'm going to let that show. And the transmog brushes are pretty difficult to obtain. So I don't know. Even if they were free, would I do it? I don't know. I thought I would transmog and I just think I'm not doing it at all. Improved equipment security. If you've enabled a secondary password for verification, you'll need to complete verification with your secondary password to forge, refine, awaken, or dismantle legendary equipment. Improved alliance management. Added new rules for automatic alliance disbandment. Ooh, and leadership transfer. Okay. Alliance officers can now modify the garrison captains of buildings in the kingdom. And, alliance officers can now modify garrison captains of buildings in your kingdom and Lost Kingdom. This is huge. This is so huge. It is I think, common point of frustration that players could not swap out who the garrison captain was when there was obviously a mistake, and you had to be a title officer to get it done. Sounds like now any officer can do that, which is a huge relief from the R5 constantly managing the titles there, and a relief on the 4 people or so that had titles, right? Assuming that 4 even had titles on them. Alliance officers can now see if a given alliance member, including the leader, is online. This is awesome. Very important to know. Like, hey, where's the R5? After your kingdom enters Season of Conquest, a random blueprint fragment chest engineering of legendary quality is added to the VIP shop. All right. Sort of evening out your access to engineering equipment here. They added new narrative content to various parts of the game. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't hit that skip button fast enough. I really can't. I'm skipping all narrative content. You may now gift commanders golden apples directly from the commander page. I rarely even remember that I have golden apples. Redesigned the layout of the Road of Glory page and optimized the rules text for certain events to improve readability. All right. Overall, I think that the ranged combat KvK looks kind of interesting. I think there's going to be really like 2 camps of people. There's going to be the camp of people that are like, ooh, that sounds cool. I really want to try it. And then the camp of people that are like, I don't want ranged combat in my game. I'm not doing it, even if they actually would end up really enjoying it. So I think watching some people do this story is going to open people's, I think, perspective. And it's going to really hinge. A lot hinges on this story going well for players. If this story goes well, I guarantee you we will see more players doing ranged combat in the game. If this is not a smooth experience, my suspicion is that people will be like, yeah, I'm so glad I didn't do ranged, and I'm validated. And in general, from 5+ years of being a content creator, I have learned that people like to hear that what they already believe is true, even if it isn't. They just want to be told that they're right, even if they aren't. And like, I'm not being rude. It's just like the reality is that like 90% of people look at a tier list, not because they want to know what's good, but they want to be told that what they already think of the world is accurate. A lot of people do not think, I think, that they want to be doing ranged combat in Rise of Kingdoms. You can just look at my comments on ranged combat coming into the game and what people were saying about it. But like, it is entirely possible that once they try it, they will enjoy it. And I feel like that's what this KvK is designed to do. Like, hey, try ranged combat. The developers are basically betting like, hey, if you try ranged combat, you're probably going to like it. And I can tell you from Call of Dragons that actually I really do enjoy ranged combat there. So I might really enjoy ranged combat here too. And if you want to see kind of what that looks like, at some point I'll be in this KvK, right? So subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here. And until next time, have fun smashing the kingdom. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments.